Hi, everyone. It's Tessa.
And Joe.
From the Unveiling Paradise podcast.
Tessa, summer is almost here, and so many of our listeners are about to have their epic destination wedding.
And we are so excited for you guys.
Before the big day, guys, we want you to make sure you listen to these 3 episodes.
Episode 62, Deep Diving Your Wedding Ceremony.
Episode 53, Questions Your Wedding Guests Will Ask.
And episode 31, the final countdown to your wedding day.
And if you're planning your wedding here in Hawaii, hit us up and ask us about our Unveiling Paradise podcast promo.
Happy planning. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Unveiling Paradise. Hi, Joe. How's it going?
Hey, Tessa.
Are you ready for today?
I am so excited. This is going to be awesome fun. We are talking about don't make these common wedding day mistakes.
Why are you saying it in such a scary way?
I don't know.
Don't scare people.
This is going to be fun, okay? So I kind of want to make sure that people get a little scared. Don't make these mistakes, guys.
Really? In previous episodes, we've talked about what to do when you first get engaged and also what to do leading up to your wedding. Today, we're kind of talking about the in-between. When you're planning your wedding and you're working on all the little details, what are the mistakes that you can avoid?
Well, guys, this is a total teaser intro, total clickbait. We're not going to tell you anything. So you guys got to stick around for the show, and we will get started real soon.
Welcome to Unveiling Paradise, your go-to destination wedding podcast. I'm Tessa, wedding planner and owner of Fred and Kate Events.
And I'm Joe, wedding and adventure photographer of Joseph Esser Photography. We are based in Hawaii, one of the biggest, most popular locations for destination weddings.
We want to share our real-life experiences with you, give you insight from a professional's perspective, and still make sure you're having fun in the process.
We're huge believers in the fact that planning a destination wedding can be one of the most amazing experiences, and we want to bring you along.
We're so excited to talk with you about weddings, Hawaii, and everything else under the sun.
So pack your bags and let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to our show today. We are talking about common wedding mistakes and how to avoid them. This is going to be a lot of fun because we see a lot of things go wrong at weddings.
There's a lot of things that go wrong, but it's okay. A lot of them are very easily avoided.
Yes, totally. There's so much to talk about, Tessa. You know, I think when we started the show, right, I think the intent was to kind of give our listeners, if we could tell our clients, hey, heads up, if you do these things, your wedding's going to be epic. If you avoid doing these things, your wedding's going to be epic. This is like, I think this is going to be a fun episode for that reason. Like, if we can share anything with our listeners that can help you guys on your wedding day, that is our goal. This is what we want to do.
Totally. And I think that is exactly what we're doing on the episode today. It's just, here are some things that we've seen in the planning process, right? As a wedding planner, I think I see them from the beginning or earlier than you, where, hey, if we avoid this, it's going to be so much better down the line.
Totally. All right, let's get into this. We have a list of, 500 tips?
Around there, yeah.
This is going to be a long episode. Don't do these things.
Take a long road trip, guys, and just start listening to this episode.
All right, cool. What is your first common wedding mistake that you see, and how do we avoid it?
Sure. So the first one that I see a lot is you buy your wedding dress before choosing your venue and date.
I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't think about this. What does that mean?
Yeah. So it's interesting, right? Because number one, if you're getting married somewhere that's very hot, a tropical environment, you may not want a very, very thick formal dress. You may want something a little lighter or breezier.
Right. I've seen dresses before where the train is made for a cathedral church wedding, right? And it's like, you put that on a beach, you know, and it's basically turned into like a fishing net where you're capturing like crabs and sand and seaweed.
You're picking everything up as you walk along. Exactly. And that's my point is pick your venue, pick your date, right? Depending on where you're getting married. Is it cold and snowy? Because if you're getting married, say in Colorado in the summer versus the winter, there's very different climates. You may not want that cute, short, strapless dress if you're getting married in the dead of winter.
Right.
So understanding where you're getting married, when you're getting married, I think that will determine what your attire is going to be.
So choose your wedding dress after the venue. Got it.
I think so. Or be ready to plan everything around your beautiful wedding dress. Either way.
Yep.
Joe, what do you have?
Okay, Tessa, this is an epic blunder.
Wow, that's aggressive.
That I commonly see at weddings.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, here it is. When you have a huge gap in time. So say, for example, your ceremony is at noon and your reception isn't until 6 o'clock. That is just so uncool. Like, have you seen that before? I mean, like, I just feel like your guests have nothing to do for 5 hours.
So the funny thing is, I slightly disagree with you on this.
What do you mean?
So the thing that I don't like is when you have almost that longer than a cocktail hour, but shorter than that 5-hour break. It's sort of that cocktail hour that's like 2.5 hours. That to me is really hard because you're asking guests to stay. You're asking guests to stay in that same place and do nothing, I guess, for all this time.
Okay.
Whereas if you have a 12 o'clock ceremony and a 6 p.m. dinner, what's likely happening is you're getting married maybe in a church or a morning wedding somewhere else. It gives them a good 4 or 5 hours to go back to their hotels, go home, go to the beach, do something, and then get ready for dinner.
I think it just turns into a really long day for everybody. And I think what happens too is people just won't show up for your ceremony. They'll show up just for your reception because it's just too much time in between.
The next one is that you have too many DIY tasks on your plate. And what I mean by this is if you're trying to build your own centerpieces, create your favors, make soaps for your favors.
Don't make soaps on your wedding day.
My sister made soap. It took us forever. It was a nightmare. Just everyone had 3 soaps per person. There were 300 people. It was a lot of soap.
Wait, time out. Like, I always wonder about this. If you're giving soaps to your guests, what are you saying about them? Does that mean like
we had to even put a sticker like, this is not candy, don't eat it. Because they looked delicious. I mean, it was a mess.
Just wash your bodies, guys. You reek. Like, please, this is for your own good.
Use the soap, take the hint. But it was so much work. And again, is it worth it as it gets closer to your wedding? Especially if you're DIYing things that need to be done at the last minute. So for example, if you are deciding to make chocolates as favors for your wedding, if you are assembling flowers, those have to be done at the last minute. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of stress that you are putting upon yourself, your family, and your wedding party. Is it worth it?
All right, guys, here is one of my common epic wedding day blunders you want to avoid. And it's this: don't go too trendy with everything. So if it's trending this year or this month, you don't necessarily need to follow that trend. So like, I think of this, especially for me, I think a lot about this in terms of photography trends. So if you look back at pictures, I know this, I looked at your photos and they had like this weird, like fuzzy, like vignette around, like that was a super trendy thing. You want your wedding to be timeless. So when you're thinking about putting your wedding together, are you blindly following whatever is trending right now? Or are you creating a timeless, classic masterpiece of a wedding, right?
Right. And it's totally up to you what you want to do, right? If you are into the 80s puffy sleeves or the mason jars, lean in.
Like go all the way, right?
Yeah, right. I had a couple and it's so interesting. This groom wore glasses, like the really, really thick black frames. He didn't have a prescription. He just wore them for fun. And so when they were doing their wedding photos, the bride was like, hey, can you take off those glasses?
He's a hipster. He's
a total hipster and I love him. But it's one of those like, do we want every single picture to be dated in that way?
Yeah, totally. Buddy Holly glasses. I love it.
Again, like he rocked those glasses, but I think it was nice to have some pictures without them too.
Yeah.
So the next common wedding mistake, I think, is a little controversial.
Ooh, I love controversial.
I know.
Let's get into it.
A lot of parents expect the couple to say hi to every single guest at the wedding. And that is either walking around at dinner, a receiving line as people enter, somehow acknowledging and thanking every single person that comes to the wedding.
So you think this is a mistake to do this?
So this is the funny thing is I don't know. I'm not sure.
Wow, this is very awkward.
It's controversial.
It's such a mistake that we don't even know what the mistake is.
I'm torn. I understand the reasoning behind this. I think a lot of times now with the way weddings are formatted, there's so much going on. There's so much happening during dinner and photos between ceremony and reception. There's not a lot of time to stop and talk to every single person. If it is important to you, carve time in for that. If it's not, and you want to do more so checking at everyone's tables to say hi, I think that's equally as acceptable.
I got you. So what you're saying, though, is really it's a mistake to try to talk to every single person at the wedding. Right?
I think it's an epic blunder. Yes.
Well, here's my perspective. If you have 15 people at your wedding, like please, guys, say hi to everyone. If it's 300 people, though, I mean, again, I agree with you. Like, you don't necessarily have to say hi to everybody. And I don't think there's an expectation to do that. Okay, I have another one. This is a flub for me. I think it's on the level of a mistake. It could be a flub too, but it happens a lot. What I see happen a lot is when our couples try to pack way too much into their photo timeline, and it creates a day that feels more like a sprint than a marathon. So everything is just packed and it's go, 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 go. And the couple doesn't have the time to breathe. And it just feels that way. So I think this is actually more than a flub. This is a big mistake. And it's a very common mistake. When you're planning your wedding day, give yourself space to breathe. Give yourself the room to move from one thing to another and have some breathing room in that. When you pack everything way too tight, you're trying to go from this to this to this to this, it just feels like there's just so much pressure on your couples. It just creates a situation that's kind of stressful. This is absolutely something you want to avoid.
And so this leads me to my next tip, is just not giving yourself enough time in your wedding day. So photo is a big one, and I see it a lot, right? They are packed, go, go, go for 6-8 hours, just nonstop. The couple is running around trying to get pictures with every single person, every single detail. It's stressful. The same with that goes with, for example, hair and makeup. If we don't give enough time for them to start and finish, it's going to push the rest of the day back, just like every other vendor. If you're running behind, if you pack your photo list too tight, if your hair and makeup is too short for timeline, it's harder to troubleshoot and you're just playing catch up all day long.
Oh my gosh, there are some makeup artists, Tessa, that like I just want to murder. Because
can we say that?
I don't know if we can say that, but because I know that when I work with them, they're always running late. And that for me, like if there's not any cushion in the timeline, it's up to me to make up that time. And that is just, again, like going back to what we were saying earlier, if your wedding day feels like you're in the middle of a mad dash sprint, it's not going to be that stress-free. And so, for sure, give yourself padding. Make sure that your timeline with your makeup artist is true and accurate to how long they're going to actually take. All right, guys, let me know if you need to know privately who's on my murder list for epically running late for hair makeup. I will share that. No, I won't, but
I will not, but I will automatically add some extra time to those vendors.
Right.
We're here to help.
And sometimes some of the very best makeup artists do need more time. Okay, another common, I'm going to call this a miscalculation. It's definitely a mistake, is when you don't account for all the hidden costs, or maybe it's not even hidden, but it's just all the costs that are going to be accrued on your wedding day. So what are we talking about? When we're talking about your wedding budget, that overall wedding budget, making sure that you account for things like vendor meals, bar tabs, gratuities, having to pay for an Uber for your drunk uncle that you know is going to have to be Ubering home.
Better safe than sorry.
It is. But when these things come up at the last minute, they can add up to big numbers and, there goes your budget.
Yeah. I always tell my couples, have a drunk uncle budget.
I love that. That's a really good one.
It's better safe than sorry. People will drink if they're driving and we don't want them to get home driving. They have to make sure that they can find a way to get them there safely.
So in your drunk uncle budget, could we broaden that to also just having a little bit more padding in your budget so you know that there's going to be little extra add-ons here and there? What do you say? Like, what would be safe? Like an extra 5% to these little things? Or, what are we talking about?
When I'm working with client budgets, I do ask them to add a smaller percentage at the end for anything that should come up. So the next one is super awkward. I feel like I live in awkwardness, but
you kind of do, especially on this podcast.
I don't know why. They call it all of the awkwardness, all of my awkwardness. But I have been invited to bachelorette parties, bridal showers, and then not the wedding.
What?
And it's awkward. So again, you guys, it's bad etiquette to invite people, non-wedding guests, to your pre-wedding activities.
So you're saying, let's say, for example, you had a rehearsal dinner, but then you're like, sorry, you can't make it the wedding.
Well, I think rehearsal dinner is different. I hope that, no one's invited me to that, but I was invited to bachelorette parties, bridal showers. Obviously, they wanted me to give a present. and they never invited me to their wedding.
Okay, I have just one thing to say. Were you like horribly misbehaved
No,
at these bachelorette parties?
I wasn't. I don't remember, to be honest.
Because
No.
I think that's why you didn't get invited to the wedding.
Fine,
Just
this
saying.
one might be just me. Is that what you're saying?
It is probably just you.
Okay, but if anyone is thinking about not doing this or doing this.
No, I totally agree with you. I think this does happen. If you're going to be inviting you and your friends to all these different things, you better invite them to your wedding.
Exactly. It's rude.
Yeah. Okay, and my final one, Tessa, this is one big misstep that I see happening is ignoring your own family at the wedding.
That's harsh.
Yeah, I actually have a story about this, and this was something that happened at a wedding a number of years ago, and it still is really fresh in my mind. And in my mind, I don't think it was that big of a deal, but to the family, it was a huge deal. And what had happened is our bride had given a thank you speech to everyone. She had thanked her vendors. She had thanked her bridesmaids and groomsmen and her husband. She did not thank her parents, and she did not thank her groom's parents. And there was a blowout about this. The mother of the groom got into a yelling match with the mother of the bride about like how disrespectful.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it just kind of unraveled and unraveled. And I think, guys, especially if you're close with your family, and especially if family members have dropped a lot of money for your wedding, make sure you acknowledge them. Make sure you thank them. Make sure you say something sweet about them. Make sure you say something nice, right? But I think it was a mistake, totally avoidable mistake, but it sure blew up and it was ugly.
Yeah. So in addition to having or recognizing your parents in the thank you speech, one area that I find couples will often kind of forget about family, but it's a big part, is when you're working through your family photo list. What I mean by this is the couple will often send me their photo list and I'll say, "Are you sure? Is this everything?" And they'll say, "Yeah, it's very simple. We just want a couple pictures from each side of the family." Okay, great. Did you talk to your parents? Because a lot of times these family photos are very important to them. So get them involved.
Yeah. And actually, that is so important too, because so what might not be important to you might be really important to them. And you don't get to redo that after your wedding day.
Exactly. And really what it comes down to is you might say, "These are all the photos. We don't need any more. We're good." On the wedding day, your parents are going to still be pushing those photos. They're going to ask the photographer, ask the wedding planner, "Hey, we didn't get a photo with my sisters. We didn't get a photo with their grandmother that came." So I think instead of that day trying to add pictures last minute, having that conversation with your parents, what are these important photos? So we can go through it and make sure it makes sense. Involving your parents from the start will make everyone feel heard and make your wedding day go that much smoother.
Absolutely.
The last common mistake that I think a lot of people make is that you don't put yourselves first. And what I mean by that is at the end of the day, this wedding is about the two of you. Obviously, there are many other people involved. There's a lot of feelings and factors, but it is your wedding. So don't forget about the two of you.
Totally agree with you, Tessa. I see this all the time where the couple's being pulled in so many different directions by family and friends, and they don't get a chance to sit together, have dinner together, have a moment together. And that is so important. Like, make sure you have that time with you guys as a couple. Sometimes our couples will request a 5-minute private cocktail hour where they can just sneak away, have a glass of champagne together, breathe for a second, and just, again, just embrace that moment. You just got married. And I love it when our couples find time for those quick, intimate moments on the hustle and bustle of their wedding day.
I love it too. It's so important. I think you're so busy all day. You're pleasing everybody else. You're trying to follow a timeline, so to take those minutes alone together and celebrate yourselves is exactly what makes your wedding perfect. So I see this a lot. You're running through the day. You're trying to get all those photos. You're trying to run through your timeline. Take that time for yourselves. Find that time, carve it into your timeline so you can spend some quality time with each other.
All right, guys, we went through a lot. I think we can talk about a lot more, but here is a quick recap on the common wedding mistakes we don't want you to make.
First, you buy your wedding dress before choosing your venue and date.
Don't make that mistake, ladies.
Nope.
There's too large of a gap between your ceremony start time and your reception. Don't make that mistake, guys.
Don't make that mistake. The next one is you don't say hello to everyone.
Don't make that mistake, guys. Oh my God, that's an epic blunder. Oh my gosh. All right, DIYers, don't put too many DIY tasks on your plate. That's one of my big epic mistakes.
Don't stress yourself out about those. The next one is going too trendy with anything. Mason jars, 80s dresses, thick glasses. Just know what you're getting into.
All right, your photo list, just like a pair of tight jeans. Don't try to pack too much into them. Common epic wedding mistake. Is that too much?
The next one is you don't give yourself enough time in your wedding day. It's harder to troubleshoot when everything is so packed into the day. Give yourself time.
All right, guys, not accounting for hidden costs. Your drunk uncle fund. Don't make that mistake.
Well, have a drunk uncle fund.
Yeah,
Don't-
have one.
Don't not have one.
And have a drunk uncle. We like them at the weddings.
They're the best for photo, I bet. The next one is, again, don't make it awkward for everybody by inviting people to your pre-wedding parties and then not inviting them to your wedding.
And finally, for me, don't forget about your parents, especially if they're fronting the bill. Make sure you thank them. Make sure you talk to them. Like, definitely do that.
Yeah, that's a good one. And the final one is don't forget about yourselves. Put yourselves first. Give yourselves a second throughout the day to just embrace it, take it all in, and enjoy.
All right, guys, thanks for listening to our show today. We want to make sure that your wedding goes off without any mistakes, any mishaps, any miscues, any mosquitoes.
Any mayhem.
Yeah, any mayhem.
Any mayonnaise. None of it.
None of it. Okay. And as always, this is the whole point of our show. We want to share our insider tips and tricks for you guys. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you guys are doing that. And we will see you guys on another episode.
We will catch you next time.
All right, guys. And that is a wrap. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Unveiling Paradise.
If you enjoy our show, please follow us and rate us on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. It would really mean a lot.
And don't forget to also get on our mailing list and follow us on Instagram. Just do it already.
Until next time, this is Tessa.
And this is Joe.
And don't forget, your happily ever after
It's just a plane ride away.